Gibberpish podcast.
Well, I may be Colin Solo, but we're here to talk Gibberpish, aren't we, Dom?
Colin Solo?
Look, we get to call ourselves whatever Star Wars names we want nowadays. That's how this shit works. Also, I didn't shave for this episode, so, you know, I'm basically Han Solo. Hey!
No.
He makes dad jokes now, I make dad jokes now. If you can't tell, we're doing a kind of a one-shot episode on Star Wars. Yeah. Both Dom and I have recently seen Rise of the Skywalker, and we wanted to give this episode its own self-contained Star Wars theme or Star Wars episode because we don't want to spoil it for anyone who just wants to tune in for a normal episode.
Yeah. And we think at this point, even if love them or hate them, the sequel trilogy is a spectacle. It is something that you need to see.
It is a pop culture moment that we are going through a beloved franchise being treated in ways that some people don't agree with, and it's something that I think if you're going to see it, we can have a self-contained episode because everyone who will want to see it has seen it by now. Yeah. I know it's only been out for like 3-4 weeks, something like that at this point. Don't remember when it launched.
Might be close to a month, maybe longer than a month. But
we're getting up to about the month period, so I think we can talk about it. And if you don't want to listen to this episode, there was the 2019 best of episode we put out recently.
Watch that. We get some heavy topics in there, but we keep it funny.
Yeah, we a lot of dick jokes.
A lot of dick jokes, yeah.
And we have further episodes planned coming out soon, so your regularly scheduled absolute nonsense will be continuing as per normal, but for now...
We will bring the proper pish to people soon.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk some Star Wars right now.
We're letting out a little bit of dribble these days to just kind of fill up because...
This is the pre-pish. We're going to give you the big pish.
You get the full... We'll get
the steady stream next week.
Yeah. And I've realised that my Google Notes are not... Oh, no, wait. It is... Oh, finally. I have a Google Doc for every episode.
Yeah.
And I just take notes and just write out ideas because it's easier for me to write out the idea than explain it with my voice and my face rather than just actually improvise off the top of my head because then it comes out all stupid. And I have points I want to make and things I want to know.
Maybe that's why I'm not cohesive. Yeah. I just need to start writing shit down, otherwise it just comes out with the lightsaber.
That's helped me so much actually during the podcast. I mean, everyone has his own Google Doc. I think I've deleted the first 12 or something like that just to get rid of space on the Google Drive because it turns out those things fill up fast. And one of the things I've been doing is just going through taking notes. And this is what happened was that I watched... If we talk about like where you're at with the Star Wars franchise, I'm not a big fan. I've never really have been a big Star Wars person. I don't know.
I was kind of raised on Star Wars. I went to conventions when I was younger. I had a lightsaber on my Christmas list for fucking 10 years in a row. From age of 5 to 15, unashamedly, I wanted a fucking lightsaber. I had to buy one myself. Still have my lightsabers, but no, Star Wars was this kind of this weird thing. It was a uniting thing in my house because you've got 2 younger brothers, I have 2 older brothers. Yeah. When you've got 3 young boys of different ages, they all want different things. You have something that they can all sit down and shut up and watch for a couple of hours. And Star Wars was that in my house. If we were ever bored or something, Star Wars would always go on, and we'd always sit and watch it, regardless of the time of day, or if we even watched it the week before. Star Wars would go on, and we all shut up. And even sort of going forward, Star Wars is still that one thing where I can phone up my brother and say, "Oh, we're going to see the new Star Wars. You fancy coming along?" Yeah, sure, I'll come along. Or I can say to my dad, Star Wars is at the Hippodrome. Do you want to go and see it? Yeah, sure, we'll go and see it. Even the Rogue One and Solo and stuff, when that came out, it was like, yeah, we'll go and see that as well, because Star Wars was this huge cultural impact in my house, to everybody's house as well. But it was still a big deal in my house. Even with we were kind of tired, because it is no secret that I fucking hate the prequels. Episodes 1 and 2 are dog shit. I fucking hate The Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones is by far and away the worst Star Wars movie of all time. Episode 3 is redeemable because there's no big battle. It's literally Anakin's downfall and the fight at the end with Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar. That is redeemable. But to my mind, they should have cut it with Anakin burning on Mustafar, because that way, when you go into episode 5, "No, I am your father" hits so much harder. If you don't know, if they hint at him being Darth Vader and you've heard the name Anakin before, so you know that Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Yeah. But as long as they don't actually show you the suit going on Anakin,
Yeah.
that makes it a bit more impactful.
Well, I think
anyway.
I'd seen someone who watched it in release order with the kids, and he watched 4, 5, and 6, and went back to 1, 2, and 3, and he said that was the biggest impact it could have had.
Yeah.
Was that at the end of 3, Vader appears. Vader arises from the surgery table of Anakin, and he said that actually had his kids screaming no at the television. I know, okay, because then you have Vader appearing throughout the original trilogy, and we're going to have to find a way to definitely make sure we're talking about the things in the right way. So it's prequel trilogy 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Original trilogy 4, 5, and 6. Sequel trilogy 7, 8, 9. Yeah. And I don't think we really need to talk about the spin-off movies.
No.
I've only seen Rogue One.
Rogue One was okay. Really good. Solo.
Still never forgive Rogue One for giving me the blowest balls of all time.
Huh?
They hint for ages at this massive destruction of the Stargate that's above the planet, the thing that gives them like a void protective shield.
Oh, yeah.
And then they smash a ship into it, but they never show it on camera. That is the biggest blow. I love destruction. I love absolute fucking carnage.
Yeah.
And they say, we're about to smash a Star Destroyer into the fucking wormhole gate thing that controls the planetary like ins and outs.
Yeah, and all you see it is from see it from down
happens
on the planet.
Like directly, like they have it happen just out of shot. And every character's going, oh my god, this is horrible. And you're like, dude, show me.
Yeah,
show me.
Pan the camera.
And then they're like, oh no, it happened. It's too late. We can't show you it now. I'm like, the fuck is this? You promised me mass destruction on a huge scale.
You did not deliver. Yeah, Rogue One was good. Solo was good as well. But
I hadn't seen Solo. But
Solo is good, but a lot of people did just say, we didn't need it. Why did Han Solo get his own movie? Like, dude, just go and see the film. Trust me, it is better than you think it is.
we don't need
Donald
it.
Glover is Lando Calrissian is the single best piece of casting of the past 5 years. You can tell he just watched Billy D. Williams for a week or something. Just like, okay, I got his laugh now. That kind of, I got it now.
Yeah, Billy D.
Billy D.
I think that
incidentally, when I went to see Rise of Skywalker, someone in front of me went Billy D when he showed up on the screen. Literally just hands waving in front of them.
It's an old school Scrubs reference, kids. You'll figure it out.
No, if it was a Scrubs reference, it'd be Lando Calrissian. Just like,
does he not have to spend the entire episode teaching them to say Billy D?
You can call me Billy D, and he keeps going Lando. Dude, I've been wanting to rewatch Scrubs.
Billy D.
I've been wanting to rewatch Scrubs, but it's not on Amazon Prime anymore.
So
I need to find a way.
So that's our relationship to Star Wars. I didn't have that. It was always in the house.
Yeah.
The silver box set. It's actually referred to as just the silver box set for the original trilogy. Was always there. We got the DVDs of the prequel trilogy, and I remember seeing Phantom Menace in the cinema, but didn't really bother with the rest of them just because I wasn't that interested. But I went to see the Phantom Menace and was like, okay, so it's sword fights with light swords, I guess. Yeah. And it's just a load of... Unfortunately, those movies are bad. So it's just a bunch of boring politics. But I went back...
that was the best thing that George Lucas could have done. Taking this franchise that was about high adventure and, cool lightsaber fights and cool dog fights in space and just add in political bullshit.
I think the original trilogy, I went back to watch those when it was time for the 7th movie to come out. Yeah. When The Force Awakens was coming out, and there was going to be a new Star Wars thing, it was going to revitalize the franchise, J.J. Abrams directing it, it's going to be the shit. Yeah. I said, okay, I owe it to myself to go back and rewatch 4, 5, and 6. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah. And I can appreciate it. I can see why it's a classic. It's just not my thing. I just was like, okay, cool, what now?
Yeah. Now, for me, 4, 5, and 6 was it was the best way to tell that kind of story. Because a lot of people tried to imitate it, and then you get all the horrible sci-fi movies afterwards that try and copy Star Wars or see that Star Wars is the big sci-fi darling, so they think we're going to copy that. But specifically episode 4, you just think this something like that had never been done before. Yeah, like the effects and stuff like that, and most of the big shots are literally just someone with most of the space shots are just someone with a sheet of black fabric with little tinfoil twinkles for stars, and it's just someone with a stick with a Millennium Falcon just moving it in a different way. Yeah. And you realise the amount of effort that went into this movie, and George Lucas thought, if this doesn't work, I am going to go back to work for someone else. I'm going to hang up I'm not going to direct anymore. Yeah,
and I think that's one of the things that I've been very keen to think about something I keep in the back of my head when I'm watching these movies is there was nothing like 4 before Star Wars. Yeah, there's nothing like that show, or it's nothing like that movie, and it's something that's come up in discussions before, was people discussing the movies before at work. And one of the guys I worked with was a bit older, and he said, I remember going to see that for the cinema the first time, and it blowing my mind. In the same way that people our age probably seen The Matrix.
Yeah.
There's an eye-opening moment when you realise that this stuff is possible, that this type of story can be told.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a unique experience for everyone going forward. And I think that's something to keep in mind when people talk about the originals and the veneration they have for these movies. And it's interesting to see where it went with the prequels, how it was so horrifically received.
Yeah.
The reaction to Clone Wars and stuff like that, I think, has been pretty good.
The Clone Wars series, both the hand-drawn one by Genndy Tartakovsky, who drew Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
He made his own Clone Wars miniseries. That was fucking phenomenal. Because it was, each episode was about 10 to 15 minutes. They weren't long, and it gave...
I'm just talking about like the original, like the wider reception of the Clone Wars, like the
Oh, right, yeah.
so,
yeah,
wasn't Disney? Nicktoons? Nickelodeon or something like that ordered the show?
Disney.
Disney made a Clone Wars show, and it was quite well received, and I think they've definitely been working on building up the wider universe and then destroying it after the announcement of 7, saying the extended universe. I was never anywhere near the extended universe.
There was the Clone Wars TV show that got, they kind of said, no, that's going to keep going, but
yeah, that's canon.
There was a shit ton, and I mean a fucking library's worth of extended universe shit that just kind of got swept away. It's like, we'll cherry pick some cool shit from there.
Yeah, we'll take some ideas out there.
That is all gone.
It's too much to try and keep canon, and it's one of the things of, you got to realize this fan base, when you see toxic reactions stuff, this fan base is rabid, fanatical, and loyal, and has been for several decades.
And that's part of the problem, I think, because people have had so long with the extended universe, they've seen how it has been and how they think it should be, and then when they see the new movies, which I think are fine in their own right, there's some major hiccups that we'll get into vis-a-vis The Last Jedi that we'll get into soon, but I think it's become a point where Disney and J.J. Abrams are listening more to the very vocal, rabid fans that are just going, no, it should be this way, and they're like, okay, we'll do it that way. Like,
and that's the problem, is that you can never get a solid answer out of a good balance. People. You will always have one group say, well, that's not what we wanted, we wanted the other thing. Yeah. And that's why you get some differences between different movies made throughout the last couple of years. But one thing I will say is that I get the love for the Star Wars universe, even if I don't get why
you understand feel the same it, way. Even though you don't experience it yourself.
I understand the principle of the thing, and I found it very interesting that before my screening of Rise of Skywalker, there was a couple of like, it seemed like social media videos, like not something that would be on TV, but something that would appear on an official page for fans. Yeah,
like a YouTuber on Instagram or some shit like that.
And it was a video of like this old archive footage of the original trilogy, and saying, this is a story 40 years in the making. This is the love, this is the generation. There's two separate videos, and one was this whole thing of like the original cast talking about how much this means and what this potential means and what it could do for the genre and how it could change everything. And then after that you have a compilation of people sharing Star Wars with their kids. Because it's now 40 years old. The generation of kids who watched it.
Yeah, the people who watched it in the cinema are now sharing it with their kids. And
and it's a lot of touching. It's like a lot of kids are like playing with blasters and like pretending to be Jedi and like having lightsabers and stuff. And you're like, that's pretty cool.
I mean, without a doubt, if I ever have kids, I'm showing them Star Wars. I'm buying them a lightsaber and I'm giving them what my parents denied me.
But
they will be Jedi. If they get a red lightsaber, I'm going to slap them.
You're so mad when I give them red lightsabers. But
as long as you have fucking lightsabers, I don't care.
There needs to be balance in the Force, right? You need a good child and an evil child, right? And I'll give the evil child the red lightsaber. I mean, that's how we're going to work this. But
what if you give the red lightsaber to the one that I think's the good kid? I'm like, you need to learn something.
I'm going to show you the true dark side of the Force. It's not that you think the child's good.
How many hamsters you bought that kid? How many do you think it's killed itself?
I find it interesting that you are now reminding everyone, just before you show them this movie, that this means 40 years worth of love from people for this franchise. You just set yourself up there. If you don't fucking nail this...
Yeah, you need to knock it out of the park.
They will crucify you. They will absolutely hammer.
Yeah, they will put the fucking boots to you.
And this is the risk that they've been taking with this entire reboot of the series from like 7 onwards. And I think for the most part, it has worked. It's definitely worked financially as a success.
Yeah.
It is definitely...
I even think Rise of Skywalker still making pretty good at the box office.
Look, this is
right now.
the era of Disney. It's going to hit $1 billion.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what you do.
Without a doubt.
You can't fight the resistance at this point. It is just going to be a $1 billion movie, even if it wasn't the best. Fuck it.
Yeah,
It's a Disney movie. If they want to make $1 billion, they'll make $1 billion.
yeah. The mouse makes money.
This is where it came to, like, actually watching this movie. I had not seen The Last Jedi until 2 days before seeing Rise of Skywalker, and I was initially worried that I would have a bit of bleed over between the two movies, that I would take stuff from, I would always be thinking of The Last Jedi going into Rise of Skywalker, and it turns out I'm not alone, because you are having kind of similar feelings.
Yeah, it feels like, before we start talking about the movie proper, I kind of want to backtrack a bit. The first film, The Force Awakens, directed and written by J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy.
Yes.
The Last Jedi was produced by J.J. Abrams, but Rian Johnson wrote and directed it. And it shows that the first director, J.J. Abrams, he wrote the Rise of Skywalker. I might be wrong about this, but he directed Rise of Skywalker, and The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker seem infinitely more connected than Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. And that shows because it's been the same person writing them. Then when you come to The Last Jedi, it's just like, oh, we took it in a different direction.
And that's because the director, Rian Johnson, said, I want to subvert expectations, change what you think can happen. And in some regards, that actually helps this franchise. It makes things different, because one thing he was very liberal with was changing the way people viewed the Force.
Yeah.
And that has now totally reaffirmed my view of the Star Wars world, the Star Wars universe. I have a set way of thinking about what people mean when they talk about the Force, the Sith, and the Jedi. That combination of different names now means something different from what I think it probably means to people who watched the original trilogy all that time ago.
I think when you watch the original, even if you watch the prequels and the original trilogy, you always get this idea that the Force is this inherently good thing and the Sith kind of pervert it. Mm-hmm. But then when you watch Last Jedi, it's just like, no. You always, sorry, I'll backtrack a bit. The Force is this inherently good thing. The Sith kind of pervert it, and the Sith are just a byproduct, and they need to be eradicated.
Yeah, they're a cancerous tumor to natural life.
Then when you get to episode 3, you're just thinking, well, the Sith are winning. They win twice.
Yeah,
like, how are they? They must be necessary. Then when you get to,
how did the Holy Knightly Order of the Jedi, which is basically what it is,
they are
be subverted by like 3 or 4 guys just being evil and having schemes.
3 or 4, one guy
with a bit of a scheme going on.
One guy who just used money and influence to
worm his way to the
push
top
aside
and then
religion,
just flip the table.
Yeah, and just go, okay, I've now indoctrinated the entire planet and everyone else outside it who's been in contact with me. And then when you come to The Last Jedi, it's just like, no, the Force is just a thing that we are allowed to tap into. The Jedi are necessary, but so are the Sith. The Force needs to be balanced. And I just think, in the second movie, you're introducing that concept way too late. They should have brought that into The Force Awakens. Like, and when Rey starts being able to use the Force, she then starts getting this idea of, well, balance needs to be happening. When Kylo Ren starts, trying to turn her at the dark side, there should be more of this attempt to balance it instead of this whole.
The thing about Star Wars movies
Jedi
is
are good.
This is all about the question of how do you balance the Force.
Yeah.
And all the way back from, I'm pretty sure it's actually in the first Star Wars movie, Obi-Wan says, the Force connects everything in the universe.
Yeah.
It is a thing that flows through us. That
connects us and binds us.
Connects us and binds us, but it is there. It is. I don't think he has that weird religious interpretation of the Force that's there in the prequels. I think he has at that point learned that the Force just exists. It is an energy. It is a resource. It is something that is, we know it's there in the Star Wars universe. Yeah. We can't measure it. We don't know how to. There's no way of computing the value of the Force, but it is a thing that exists and it can be tapped into by people. And then what you've had is you've had these 2 religious orders, the Jedi and the Sith, that have been built up around ways of looking at the Force and how it influences us and what should be done with that power. And I think when I look at these movies, from the get-go, it has always been about a misinterpretation of what the Force is. That everyone has assumed it's the God-given right of the Jedi to have access to the Force, and that the Sith are the evil trying to corrupt the Force for their own good. When you realise that they're both just institutions. They're both just ways of thinking
Yeah.
about this force in existence. Not the force, but just a force of existence.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we
This
felt the same
energy.
way about... Imagine if we felt the same way about gravity.
Yeah.
You'd have a weird... It'd be a weird fucking planet of people who are like, oh, gravity is mine to control.
Yes.
You're like, no, shut up, idiot. It's just a thing that exists.
No, it's just we experience gravity.
You
can't control it.
Yeah, we all experience gravity. We know it's there, but we can't manipulate it. But these people could manipulate gravity, or could manipulate the force. I think that this trilogy has been more than any other thing about shattering the illusion of the religious orders of the Sith and the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I think that's been there from the start, and I've always wondered about what does the phrase, he will bring balance to the force mean? And I've always thought that was, he will just destroy Sith and Jedi. It'll be over. People will just go back to being people. And that's always been my way of thinking about it. And then having these movies coming at the end, I'm like, oh, they actually did do that. Somebody actually followed through in this whole destroy the Jedi thing.
To an extent, but you kind of see them trying to do that in the Last Jedi, because you have Luke, who is the titular Last Jedi. He's the last official Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really say Rey counts as a Jedi herself, because she's a Force sensitive. She can use the Force.
Mm-hmm. She's received training from a Jedi, but
I wouldn't really say she's affiliated as such.
Yeah, there's no. The thing is that the Jedi is an order.
Yeah.
It's a way of thinking. It's a training. There's no way for her to join that now. It's all dead except for Luke, who is himself now dead. So.
Yeah, but the Force Ghosts. But I don't fucking. Let's not get into the Force Ghosts. But they do try. They spend a lot of time in The Last Jedi saying it's time for the Jedi to end. But I think that was more them hinting. Look, neither side is right. To bring balance to the Force, we need to unify Sith and Jedi. So there's not two rivaling factions trying to gain Force. Like, take the good guys and the evil guys and just use them both tapped into the same Force. Use them both one unified Force. There's no need to have opposing religions. Just be worshippers to the Force.
Well,
serve the Force.
I think that might have been an idea at one point, but I think what they were looking at was just a divide that's too deep within those. Like, it's like an old Christian schism. It's now gone so far.
Yeah, it's now so wide that you can't cross
these two churches anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to just say, look, it's all got to burn.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at Luke's story, when he's gone, he's left the Jedi Order. It failed when he tried to restart it, when he wanted to make a new Jedi temple, and he wanted to train new masters, and it all went somewhat downhill.
Yeah, quickly downhill.
There may have been a slight attempted
downhill.
murder. We don't know. We don't know the real version of that, which I find interesting. Do you actually trust Kylo Ren's version? Do you trust
I think
Luke Skywalker's version?
That was actually a really good part of The Last Jedi.
Yeah. There was this question of who attempted to murder who first?
Yeah. Because you see it from Kylo Ren's perspective, Luke's got the dark eyes and he's got his saber drawn, ready to hit him down. But then when you hear it from Luke's perspective, he's got his saber drawn and he switches it off.
Yes.
But that's when Kylo reacts and brings out his saber.
And it just becomes questions of who do you trust when all the original people who are telling you the story are now either corrupted or dead, so therefore they can't really tell you the story. They're now so set in their ways that they could actually see the same event two different ways. Is it a very good point to bring up when you're talking about absolute faith in religious organizations like the Sith and Jedi? And I think that what Last Jedi did very well, although people criticized stuff like Leia being able to fly through the void of space using the Force.
Yeah, I thought it was dumb, but I always remembered, even at the end of Return of the Jedi, they said that Leia knows the Force. She can use the Force.
Yeah.
And we've known about this. It's dumb and hokey the way she just kind of opens her eyes and fucking just Superman's her way through space. That is dumb as shit, but
you're watching
kind of justified.
You're watching a series of movies about people who hate each other with giant glowing dildos. So just calm down about what should make sense.
Sticks, and they can throw rocks at people using wind.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is stupid. Adding new versions of stupid, I think, is good because it does show you that one thing I've been talking about with these religious institutions of the Sith and the Jedi is that you have very strict linear ways of thinking about what the Force is capable of. So it just takes someone who's not in the order, Leia was about to be finished off as a Jedi.
Yeah.
But she's intuitive. She's Force intuitive. So is Rey.
Yeah,
they are
Force sensitive.
Force sensitive, or they have a sense of the Force that is not set with religious.
Yeah, they can access the Force, but they have no affiliation.
They don't have a preset way of thinking about things.
Yeah.
So when they do something that's a bit outside the realm of what people think is possible, it's kind of okay that someone would make up a new way of thinking about it just because they feel the Force and they think, I can use this to do this, even if no one would have taught me to do that.
Yeah, I kind of justified it by thinking, or by saying, Leia she's in the vacuum of space.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to save her ass.
Yeah.
The Force would allow maybe just in that panic, that self-preservation moment, just go, okay, fuck, we need to save you. And just literally give her oxygen or give her a barrier or something and just throw her back into the ship.
Well, when you think about the way that Force has been used in the past is to pull things, that the original shot is Luke stuck upside down, reaching for a lightsaber.
Yeah, when he's in Hoth.
That he can't get to. And he wills the Force, he wills the energy of the world into moving the lightsaber to him.
Mm-hmm.
Why would someone not be able to move themselves through space?
Yeah.
It makes sense in a weird way. And the thing with Force healing as well. They introduced the idea that or to the movies anyway, apparently it has been around in the extended universe that you can Force heal for a while.
Yeah, that's always been the thing. The Jedi, even in games and shit, Jedi, the Sith have always been able to access offensive capabilities. That's why they can do lightning and choke.
Mm-hmm.
But the Jedi, they kind of get the raw end of the deal. They can just fucking Super Mario jump and heal. But it's because that they're like the Force is.
They're using buffing ideas.
Yeah, because the way I've always seen it is the Force is this neutral thing, but when you add in an alignment, like you say, it's a pure Force energy. You can heal people with it, but you're using your own life force to do it. Mm-hmm. Or with the Sith, you can channel it to hurt, but you're using your own life force to do it. Yeah. That's always been the thing that when Palpatine used it, that's why his face changed.
Yeah.
Because he was using his own life to use Force lightning, and because his lightning was so powerful or some crap like that.
Yeah. And I think just the idea that things were dumb, look at what you're watching.
Yeah. You're watching a movie about angsty space teens.
Yeah. And I think that's where we should maybe leave The Last Jedi. Although if you want me to just read through quickly some of the notes I had for The Last Jedi, because I told you about this. I may have sent, somebody asked me my opinion on The Last Jedi, and I sent them 16 messages.
Yeah, I'll go for it. I just kind of, and my final points on The Last Jedi were, it would have been better served if it was somehow tied into either movies a bit more effectively. Yeah. Because the only thing it served to do, it killed Luke. Well, I think he could have been better served dying in The Rise of Skywalker.
I think it was going to happen either way. I don't mind it happening.
Yeah, I just think it would have been more poignant and better for the story if he died in The Rise of Skywalker, because one Skywalker falls, the next Skywalker rises. Yeah. And Skywalker, in the sense of it's not this continuing family, this is just the name that she has chosen. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I have my problem with that, but we'll get to that.
I complained a lot about the stuff that was shot in Ireland when Luke's on the island for The Last Jedi.
I like that. Some of those shots were fucking stunning.
Some of them were horrible.
Some of them were horrible, but
I noticed this thing where they tried to shift focus from the front to the back, and the rest of the scene warped. It happened twice in 10 minutes. I'm not kidding. I don't know if it's just my DVD copy of it, because I also noticed at one point there was I
was watching it on Blu-ray, so I never noticed anything.
There was at one point half of Leia's face just disappeared into weird crackling static. So I'm not sure if the DVD I got is just crap or if it's just.
I think you might have just got a shit DVD.
But that happened twice. There was also a bunch of weird lighting choices. The coolest set on the Last Jedi is Snoke's throne room.
Snoke's shagging palace.
Why is it red?
I don't know.
Why are the walls red? Why are the guards red? Why? Just several whys.
I think the guards were red because the room was red and they wanted to meld it.
But surely have it black and then have the guards in black.
The biggest waste of potential in those two movies, in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, was Snoke.
Yeah. It's such a cool premise that there is a new emperor that no one knows anything about, and that he can just be whatever you want him to be. Yeah. And it turns out he's a clone. Okay, that's pretty cool. That he's a clone, that he's a puppet of someone else. Yeah. That's still pretty cool.
It's still pretty cool, but I think it would have been so much cooler that maybe this is another fairly powerful Sith or Jedi that's just, maybe the Emperor's gone, power vacuum. Mm. Or maybe he's just some kind of snake oil salesman that's just that I am totally a Force user.
Yeah. The Last Jedi's Star Wars space battles and big battle scenes were awesome. I fucking loved them. They felt like World War II movies. Yeah. The
dog fights.
The bomber run. Jesus, that looks like something out of Fury. I'm like, holy shit. I do like that characters don't like each other. Yeah. Poe doesn't get on with Leia because Poe is a rebel, and Leia's had enough shit out of rebellious young men.
Yeah, he's basically another Han Solo, and she's just like, I'm done with that motherfucker. He's dead.
Do you know what that cost me? Everything. I am not doing that again. I think that the replacement for like The Last Jedi, there was the woman who replaced Leia when she's out in a coma.
Yeah, Admiral Holdo or whatever her name
I feel
is.
bad for her because I feel like she's a decent character, but like she's done in 30 minutes.
Yeah, she kind of gets she reminds me of the stepmom that she's trying her best, like, okay, I'm doing the best for the rebellion, now take your little gun and go play in the corner. Get in your ship and go away.
It's time for big people brains, not little man's big dicks. Like, that's what's going on there.
Just Paul, put the gun down. You're not mutinying right now. Stop it.
Stop it. I actually like, of all the characters in the series, I like Kylo Ren the most because he's a fucking animal.
I was thinking about this when I was watching The Rise of Skywalker. How is it, again, in the same way as Ultraman, the character that you're not meant to like ends up being the best character? Because, again, in Ultraman, you're not meant to like Moroboshi, but he ends up being the best character. Kylo Ren has carried this series, yes. I think.
And Adam Driver is massively being underappreciated. I think we all laugh with Ben Swallow when he was like, he was all fucking jacked up for this movie. But at the same time, like, he is acting like an 80s action villain. Yeah. And I fucking love it. He seems like a magic. There's parts where he's genuinely losing. He's just like running around screaming with a lightsaber going, I will fucking murder everyone. Yeah,
the bits in the Force Awakens, I can't remember if he does it in The Last Jedi, when he just starts hitting shit with his lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh, he uses, at the start of Last Jedi, he smashes his helmet into the elevator so much it breaks the elevator and his helmet. Yeah, he smashes his helmet to pieces.
That is a tantrum moment when Snoke tells him, take that ridiculous mask off. Like, that is an utter tantrum.
And he's great. I absolutely love Kylo Ren. I love the fact that even though he's calmed down enough to the point where he can lead an army, he is still raging underneath.
Yeah, still so fucking
The
angry.
point where he steps off to fight against Luke at the end of Last Jedi, he looks like he wants to rip his head off.
Yeah,
so that he can run into that like fortress himself and murder everyone there.
Yeah,
he is so livid, and it's great. I think he was probably the best character of the franchise. I think for this last trilogy.
Without a doubt. Originally in The Force Awakens, I did think Finn was the best character because to me, he looked like he could have had the best arc because he was the stormtrooper turned rebel pilot. But then Force Awakens, Finn had a fucking great showing. Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, they did not know what to do with him. I was not lying when I said you can hear him being sidelined in the credits of The Force Awakens. You just hear someone come up to him and goes, you're going to play a different part in the next two movies. You're going to do side quest shit.
Yeah, I feel like that actually was my next point was main like gripe with everything on this new series is that they have a very interesting character in Finn. On paper, a former stormtrooper for the Empire or the First Order who has basically been sick of the war, sick of the absolute carnage he's wrought and joined the rebellion, should be the most interesting character on paper.
Yep.
But he is just put to the side. I mean, the whole thing with Rose, I fucking hate Rose from this series.
She's a completely useless
I feel bad
character.
for the actress. I know that the actress has suffered some serious harassment.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely unacceptable that happened to an actress because the writing of her character was so bad. I absolutely hate the character. I have nothing against the actress.
Yeah.
I really feel horrible when you hear about what that girl has had to go through.
Yeah. I mean, she acted it well, but I just thought the character herself, which it had no purpose being there except for here's another character that will help Finn.
She is literally there to either help or hinder other characters. She's just there to be an object to be used, and it's a shame that someone had to sit and do that for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I said, why is he hanging out for the entire movie with a sentimental dipshit whose only important characteristic is that her sister died in a very badass way in the first battle of the movie?
Yeah.
That is Rose down to a T. You can't find me another way to describe Rose. I bet you fucking can't. No. She likes those weird giraffe goat things.
Yeah. The horse goat giraffe things. Yeah, they're fucking weird.
It's like a goat with no nose. That's the only. I was trying to figure out a way to think of them. I'm like, it's just a goat with no nose and it's the size of a giraffe.
As useless as Rose was, infinitely more useless Benicio del Toro's character.
Which one's he again? Oh, he's just
the
guy
hacker that bites a card that opens a fucking door.
Oh yeah, that guy is just there to open doors.
Yeah, you see that he open doors and he takes a payout from the First Order. It fucks off at the end.
And that's like all of Finn's stuff didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I did need to see BB-8 rack up a kill count.
Yeah.
BB-8 has a body count in this movie.
Although I gotta ask, I know it's a marketing thing because they want to sell the droid because the droid's a marketable thing. And it's the same as with the Porgs. Why is a Porg in every other scene?
Same with fucking Child Yoda. And
yeah, it's the reason is it sells. It prints money. Toys. It prints money, bitch. It
Yeah.
prints money. And the fact that BB-8 is the solution to so much of the world's problems, same with R2-D2.
Yeah, it was the same with R2-D2.
He
He can pick locks, he can cut wires.
He has a thing for that. Like, he
Yeah.
just has a MacGuffin.
He's got a little blowtorch, a little settling blowtorch.
And I've always hated that about the movies, but it was really bad in Last Jedi, where it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
BB-8 does everything.
They fucked over Captain Phasma. Apparently she has an
Yeah.
extended, like an alternative death scene, which is much better.
Yeah.
Um,
But again, looking at the supporting material around The Last Jedi, Captain Phasma is a fucking survivor.
Yeah.
She does not go down easy. She is Brienne goddamn Tarth.
yes.
She does not go down easy. And I kind of wanted the fight with Finn and Phasma to be a damn sight longer. I wanted that to be a fucking slobber knocker.
Yeah, I
like
wanted
the two of them getting down to just punching each other.
I wanted the Hound versus Brianna Tarth round 2.
Yeah.
But with Finn
Yeah,
and
I
Captain Phasma.
I was the same. I wanted to see their weapons breaking, them improvising, and just eventually just like, ending like Metal Gear Solid 4 and just punching each other.
They're stormtroopers. They're basically war machines.
Yeah.
They're supposed to
They
like
can't aim.
True. That's I talk about like Star Wars aim. I forgot that Chewie is 250 years old and I spent most of it fighting.
Yeah. He gets a fucking multi-kill in Rise of Skywalker. He's just like, fuck off.
I was at the point where I was like, man, it's ridiculous. Chewie, you just keep... Oh, wait, he's 250 years old and has done nothing but fight people.
And he was a marksman for the...
If he 360 no-scopes somebody with a 50 caliber, it's fine.
I'm pretty sure in the Rise of Skywalker, he's either using...
He grabs a... They give him a clone,
blaster.
They give him a trooper blaster and he just bodies like half the enemy force. And you're like, dude... Let me just run with it.
Headshot.
The thing is, he's doing that 15 minutes after being released from torture.
Yeah, he's angry.
He's a beast.
I kind of wanted to see Chewbacca just kill someone with his bare hands because
they've hinted
you've
at
seen
that.
that he could rip. He's been said that, let the Wookiee win because you ever seen someone get their arm ripped out of the socket? Let us see what happened. Fucking add an extra couple of years into the age rating and just have Chewie rip someone's arms off.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
But yeah, that was my notes for Last Jedi. So going to this.
My points to The Last Jedi, it was ultimately a good, enjoyable film, but there's still some brain dead moments in there. Yeah. Like what they did with Phasma, the introduction of Rose, Poe's mutiny, Poe's mutiny in contrast to what then happens in The Rise of Skywalker. Like, if this was anything official military, like, no, you mutinied. You can't get that promotion.
In the brig. We know you have a brig. You were going to send Finn there at the start of the movie. It was in one of the worst scenes ever, just of her like standing there like, wait, what are you doing with that pod? Wait a minute. Like, Rose, you are so slow. Who left you in charge of anything?
She has a little stunt. Like, anyway, Rise of Skywalker.
So I was very happy when just so I can just finish up my feelings on Rose, when she is immediately told at the start of the movie, like, hey Rose, do you want to come join the main mission? She's like, no, I have to go read up on Starship Destroyer plans because we might need to know them for later on.
And someone literally said, no, you better stay here. And you can actually see the look on the actor's face. She's going, oh, thank God.
But the character's like, I'm going to sit in the corner now. And you're like, good, sit in the corner with the fucking trash where you belong.
Just you sit and read.
So again, sorry, I think Kelly Tran, I think is her name.
Kelly Marie Tran, I think.
Sorry, Kelly Marie Tran. Not sorry, Rose.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Kelly Marie deserved better, but Rose, you did it.
Not so much. The opening, we talked about it, like the dead speak.
Yeah.
That initial line, I feel like Star Wars takes liberties with the fact that you don't need to know what happens between movies.
Yeah.
Shit can just jump randomly, and just they will have the opening crawl, and the opening crawl's 3 paragraphs, and nothing's really explained. It's just this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And then that's it. On you go. Like, you go for, like, the rest of the movie is everything else you need to know. You go ahead, kids. You go have fun.
Yeah. But that does lead to a pretty badass scene when Kylo Ren is... The opening planet that he's on, that's where Vader and that's where Anakin and Obi-Wan had the fight in episode 3.
Oh, it's Mustafar.
I didn't realise that. I was on Instagram and it was Kylo Ren on Mustafar, Kylo Ren on another old Star Wars planet. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Then you see them get to... Exegol or whatever the fuck the name is.
Yeah, the ride into Exegol is nuts. I mean, it's so fast paced, and that's one thing I'd heard from every review of this is that the movie just does not fucking stop.
It's way too quick. It jumps around constantly. And
I feel like part of that, when we talk about the larger structure of the movie, we could have done with one less MacGuffin. We could have spent a bit more time on a certain, just at any point, just pick one. There's no wrong answer. Just pick one and give us 5 more minutes there to just breathe there.
Yeah.
And feel like a Star Wars movie. And as well, like the introduction of Kylo Ren going from Mustafar, finding the whatchamacallit, the Sith Wayfinder.
Sith Wayfinder, yeah.
and then immediately jumping into a ship, going through this weird kind of wormhole thing that's like a cloud nebula, like a star nebula, which what's it called again? I think it's just a nebula cloud.
Thingy.
A nebula cloud. And then him going through that to find Exegol.
Yeah.
It's so fast. And you're like, oh my god, is this going to be the pace of the movie? No, the pace of the movie is set by the Millennium Falcon, where they warp jump repeatedly for like 5 minutes, do 16 different worlds.
Just like, we need to keep doing it.
Get fucked. It's a very funny scene that you would have a dickhead pilot like Poe who will just do whatever it takes to survive and win, and have him basically just trash the Falcon trying to survive.
Chewbacca was in that scene. I kind of wanted to see Chewbacca just twat him over the head, like, dude, my ship.
Bro, I have been working on this thing for a long time.
The other guy died, it's mine now.
Stop revving the engine on 0 gear. You're just screaming it.
That does lead on to one of the most annoying parts of The Rise of Skywalker for me. It's just whenever you have Finn, Poe, and Rey talking, it just seems like a bunch of teenagers having a conversation like, oh, but yeah, you broke my ship. Yeah, but I'm on a mission.
I thought those weren't bad. I think it's just that attempt at Marvel humor.
Yeah.
That's becoming really endemic in movies. It wasn't bad, though.
I don't think it fits in a Star Wars film. When you've got James Earl Jones talking in the other films, everything's quite highborn and very well spoken, then you get a bit of bratty teenager. I guess if you want to talk about this being the next generation, the new cast of the shows, having them be a bit bratty teenager, it's fine for maybe one or two of them, but isn't Poe like a seasoned veteran? Yeah, Poe's at least 40 or something.
He's supposed to be good at his shit. Like he's been around a few
fellow
times.
Children?
I think, like, how do you do fellow teenagers? Let me just get into an argument with a 10-year-old over fucking lightsabers and shit.
Weird.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I didn't mind it, but I do.
I think it was out of place. To me, it doesn't really set up. It doesn't sync with my view of Star Wars, because it's like when you go from Thor: The Dark World, where everything's very high speech and Elizabethan almost, then you go to Thor: Ragnarok when it's just, I'm pretty sure Thor says "dude" at one point. I'm like, okay, is this what we're doing? I'm okay with it, because, I mean,
it works.
It works, but it's just something about it being in the Star Wars universe didn't really sit well with me.
Yeah,
but again, I got over it fairly quickly.
You're just happy that, like, people get, like, everything seems to be working the way you.
I'm just glad no one said fucking McClunky.
McClunky?
You know, I heard of that?
No.
In the re-releases for episodes 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy on Disney Plus,
right,
when Han shoots Greedo falls over and says the word McClunky for no reason. As he's getting shot, he just goes McClunky and falls down.
Please tell me that is like a tie into Mandalorian or something like that.
Nope.
Or like it referenced the Robot Chicken bit where like they set up the guy who can't speak English. And like the guy who can't speak English is like, hi, it's very nice to meet you. It's very
is that the bit where it's just like, he doesn't like you, I don't like you, and it's just like, no dude, I didn't say that. What the fuck?
He's just like, no, don't get me in the fight with this guy. He's a Jedi. He's got a fucking lightsaber. He's gonna cut
that thing.
He's gonna cut my hand. Oh shit. Like, I hope that was a reference to that, but it's a weird, like, they keep going back in and digitally re-editing to add more stuff. I think weird. With this movie, you're gonna find that we just need you to digitally edit in more time. On this one,
apparently the edit that J.J. Abrams sent to Disney was at half an hour longer.
That sounds.
And apparently that thing that has more establishing and more. It slows it down. Apparently,
I'm okay with that,
because the bit at the end with all the other Jedi, apparently they had them in.
I feel like there is a lot of stuff there where the final scene doesn't actually feature. It just features the voices of the Jedi, and if you don't know the series back to front, I just hear a bunch of voices. Yeah.
Apparently in the original cut they had the actors in full costume.
Right, because I have seen that some people are down as like archived or like appearing as cameo footage or something like that. I was like, okay, that's.
I think that was mainly just Leia though.
No, like they had Samuel L. Jackson was listed somewhere that I saw. I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, there's too much find the MacGuffin.
Yeah, because there was the find the Sith holocron, find the dagger, find the dagger, find the point on fucking Endor or some shit.
Go back to Endor, find the thing, and they actually cut out the Endor one, I think.
They used the Endor bit, but the most of it is just her going, I need to get to that ship. Wait till the seas calm down. I'm not going to wait. I'm going now.
It's too late. I've already taken the boat.
I already crashed the boat and took the backup. She's sitting in a little dinghy.
My question was, I'd seen a lot of people complain about the scene where Chewie's taken by the rebels.
Yeah.
And then they have the force battle over the transport, in which Rey
she tries to pull the ship out of the sky.
Rey and Kylo are basically having a forced tug of war, which they did at the end of 8, and neither side really won. They kind of tore
broke
apart the
the
lightsaber, and it exploded and nearly
And she
killed
just
the
welds
people.
it back together for Rise of Skywalker.
And no one talks about it, and I'm like, wait, how? But I get it, because I guess it's Leia did it because Leia can build a lightsaber. I don't know if Rey has been shown how to do that.
I think it was more...
Whose is the yellow lightsaber?
The yellow lightsaber at the end.
Yeah.
That's Rey's.
Okay, so she can build a lightsaber.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
that's fine.
someone probably showed her.
Someone covered that at some point.
A lot of
between
people
two
were
movies.
saying was, did she just take that off the end of her staff and all of a sudden, oh, it's a lightsaber? And I went, no, I think she used parts from her staff to make a lightsaber.
Yeah, because it's part of your training is that you imbue part of yourself in the lightsaber. So that you have a connection to it, so that it's more yours and you stronger connection. If
It's something to do with the crystals themselves are clear.
Yeah.
But when you imbue it with your version of the Force, it takes on a colour.
Yeah. And
Or some shit like that. I don't fucking know.
I looked at the scene with that, and I was wondering why they didn't have the balls to actually kill Chewie, because I think that'd be really weird to see that movie try and deal with that issue of
Would
Rey
have been
actually
shitty to kill him that way.
Yes,
But I think having Chewbacca die off would have been a good way of saying we have no one else to fall back on.
it is down to the kids.
Leia's dead, Luke's dead. They can come back as Force Ghosts every now and again just to say, look, we can help you with this, but everything else is on you.
Yeah,
Chewbacca, having Chewbacca go on a suicide mission would have been cool for him, because he's thinking, I've lost my best friend.
yeah.
I've lost all my best friends. My ship is now in the hands of a young female Jedi. The Resistance is kind of going off without me. Why not do one big swan song with Chewbacca? I think it would have been a cool send off.
I was wondering if they would have the balls to kill off Chewie, or have Rey kill Chewie by accident. Like, she really didn't mean to do it, but have her deal with that as part of her journey, and like part of what might tempt her towards towards and away from the dark side. Like, I can't deal with this. I would have to kill thousands more people just to be in Sith work. I think that would have been an interesting thing if the movie happened, to actually go through the movie. But I wasn't surprised when he was alive. I was disappointed.
Yeah,
because like there's no way a Disney movie has the balls to do that.
Yeah, it's the fact that it didn't even show you. What would have been cool is if that ship gets destroyed, and as that ship's falling down at the other side of the ridge, you see another ship taking off.
Yeah,
but apart from that, you don't see any
there
hint
was
of another
no
ship.
indication of another ship at all. And the way things are set up, it is very obvious that Chewbacca was obviously on that ship.
Yeah.
And they just go, oh no, it's totally fine. There was another ship.
Yeah, we're fine. It's cool.
Honestly, that was so disappointing for me. I was like, please just have the balls to make a decision on this like show.
One thing that people did get quite annoyed with was like, no way would you be able to use the Force to pull a ship at this guy's. Like, they've already done that twice before.
Yeah.
And the Force Unleashed, Starkiller rips a Star Destroyer out of the sky.
Yeah.
A small transport wouldn't be that big a deal, because it's already clearly fucking evident that Rey is ridiculously powerful with the Force.
Yeah, Rey is something else in the Force. She is something that is not supposed to happen. She's an anomaly that is being used throughout these movies to like take the Force to new places.
Yeah. She's meant to. Her and Kylo Ren kind of represent that balance in the Force.
Yeah, they are
actually
absolute raw talent.
Yeah.
On the Force that has never been seen before, and now that there's no masters really to control them properly, no lecturers, no mentors, no guiding
chains on
figures. Yeah, what happens when you just have two prodigies going at it throughout these movies?
And it explains why Rey, despite having no proper training really with a lightsaber, is as good as she is with a lightsaber. Because you see in The Last Jedi, she's kind of.
I have things about the choreography I'd like to get into later.
Yeah. Okay.
But the scene with them then going, they find out Chewie's still alive. And they can then go onto the starship, or they have to go in there anyway for something else.
Star Destroyer.
So they have a reason to go there. And people are complaining that in the original trilogy, you have a scene where they let two stormtroopers onto the Millennium Falcon to take their stuff, knock them out, take their stuff, and then head on as fake prisoners to go get Chewie. Why didn't they recreate that scene? At that point, I'm like, you people don't want a new Star Wars movie. You want the old Star Wars movie
the same
back.
one remade.
And I think
you still have those.
Yeah, it's two different characters or a different group of characters approaching the same problem a different way.
Who's it that goes to is it Rey and
Rey, Poe, and Finn?
Yeah, I actually thought these three are fucking idiots. Like, they're not as tactically aware as Luke and the rest of them.
Yeah, like remember, it's Han Solo who leads that mission on to save Chewie.
And even like that,
Han's a shifty motherfucker.
Yeah, and you still had Obi-Wan behind him going, let's do this tactfully. You never had that voice of experience. Naturally, the first thing they would do...
Run out guns blazing, fight everything on the ship.
Finn's a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Rey is very hot-headed, force-sensitive in training, and you've got Poe, who's just... He's a soldier. He's a hothead. Of course, Maverick. Go and start shooting shit. They are Maverick.
Yeah, you have a team of Mavericks. why are you surprised they ran out guns blazing, fighting everything on the ship?
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what they would naturally lean towards.
Yeah.
It's a different cast of characters. Of course, they handle the same situation a different way from the movies from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad they did.
Because as well, it also, you really have to justify, because 8, and this is one thing you'll notice again and again and again, 9 is trying to fix 8.
Yeah,
And
without a doubt.
And 8 did something where it split the entire cast for the movie, and then you had no chance to build the chemistry. So 9 had to build all the chemistry between the main trio of Finn, Poe, and Rey.
Yeah, had to do that within 2.5 hours.
And you have to make it really convincing. So we needed this mission. So we unfortunately had to have another round of Find the MacGuffin to go find something that progresses the plot. But you need to have them do it together, so you can prove that they're a squad, that they are actually teammates. They will always work together for the better. And it was a necessary evil, I guess.
Yeah. And talking about MacGuffins, another thing that I did find annoying in both 8 and 9 was this weird force bridge that Rey and Kylo Ren seem to have. How they can just pass shit through each other.
I did like that they escalate that. Like, they can connect each other, and it's only mental. And then all of a sudden they realise, oh, this is telepathy. Like, we have a telepathic connection, and then realise it can also manifest physical objects. Yeah. And it starts with like a splash of water, and then it's like some beads. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're sword fighting through the force connection they have. Yeah, and then all of a sudden she knocks something over, or she throws something at him and he catches it. It's like Darth Vader's mangled helmet. It's the Vader. They smash Vader's at the podium. There's a plinth that Vader's mangled helmet's on, and they smash it in what is one of the best shots of that fucking movie. Yeah, it is. You see, I'm like, I want that paused as like a background on my computer. That'd be pretty cool. And they have that shot, and Vader's helmet falls out of Rey's shot into Kylo Ren's shot. I was like, oh shit, there was a consequence to that, because it's happened in the past. Yeah, I think they smash over like a tub of berries or something like that. There's like berries go or beads or something like that go all across the floor. I think it may be the same scene. But I think it was when they go to the festival on not Tatooine. Yes, and they rip the beads off of one person to. She's got the necklace or something like that. Yeah, I know what they are. Yeah, and it's an interesting concept. It's a bit much, but at the same time, again, we're watching something where space wizards hit each other with giant glowing sticks. It's yet another in a long line of MacGuffins. Yeah, it's an idea that helps really push things forward. But I'm cool with it. It looked cool. It made for interesting fight scenes. The fight was a bit much, because I was like, okay, how are they fighting? I mean, it was a bit space magic. Yeah, it was a bit much in the sense that I realised that no one else can see this. I just was like Kylo Ren just going like trying to swat a fly that no one else can fucking see. As soon as you think about the fact that I think he was called out on it before, someone's like, "Who are you talking to?" No, it's Rey gets called out on it because or something happens. It was in episode 8. Aye, she shoots a blaster at one point because she thinks Kylo Ren's there. Yeah. It blows a hole in her house because she's like, "Oh my god, I forgot! Like I'm in two spaces at the same time somehow." And then all of a sudden, like, if you do stop and think about the fact that Kylo Ren is running around swinging a lightsaber absolutely manically in the middle of, like, a town. Yeah, in the middle of what looks like... you've played Skyrim before, right? Yeah, yeah. It looks like that ice town where all the Dark Elves live. Like, there's the Nords and the Dark Elves, and it looks the exact same as that. And all the Dark Elves are, like, in the little corners on the side. They're, like, being really horrifically racially treated because they're Dark Elves. You're like, oh boy, this is getting real fucking awkward. It looks like that town. Yeah. It's kind of... It's a nice set. I like it. But here's one thing. The Knights of Ren have comedic timing. Yeah. They just show up out of nowhere like, whoa, we're menacing. And you're like, you look like a fucking pair of Scooby-Doo villains. Will you fuck off? Either be menacing, go fuck someone up, prove to me you're a badass, or don't bother. The Knights of Ren and that the bounty hunter woman that they meet on that same planet are two of the most useless characters in the fucking movie, because you don't even get to see who the woman is except her eyes. Yeah, and I'm like, who the fuck are you when you're at home? And then the Knights of Ren just are shown in the movie to then be killed at the end. Yeah, and they've hinted that the Knights of Ren are R7. They show up at the start. They're there at the first introduction of Kylo Ren, but other than that, they're not in 8. They should have been used more throughout to build menace and show that they're a threat. Yeah, so that when Kylo Ren destroys them. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it was awesome. It was a cool fight.
It was a pretty good fight.
It was very brutal. It was a Kylo Ren fight.
Some of the choreography is good, but the duels between Kylo Ren and Rey are boring. They are very boring.
If we're going to talk about the choreography of these fights, I don't like Rey's fighting style. I have no idea. I know why Kylo has his saber behind him and he uses it to slash because he has that extra little dagger blade, like an offshoot bit. It makes sense for him to do it. Why does Rey copy him? Rey has the same thing where she flips, like the lightsaber should be coming out this way, like forward, like a sword. It should be using like fencing or like a long sword.
Yeah.
She then flips it to have it slash. She has no benefit in doing that. And it makes no sense as well when you remember she's a staff fighter.
Yeah.
She's used to fighting basically what's a spear. Surely she should be having more like fencing, more lunges, more jabs, more.
She does do that to an extent. She does a couple of lunges forward, but more often than not, you do see her using the in the kind of backhand stance.
She does it so much.
Yeah, but I think that
no idea why.
I think that might just be her because she's seen Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the only person that she's seen fight with a lightsaber.
Right.
Maybe she's seen that and think, well, he uses it.
Yeah.
Why not I try it? That's the only other justification I can see to it, because otherwise it is annoying. It offers her no benefit.
It was driving me nuts.
If anything, she'll probably stab herself in the wrist.
Yeah. Although it's amazing Kylo doesn't do it because he's obviously the double offshoots.
Yeah.
How is he not just going to, oh shit. Maybe he just feels the sin and goes, oh,
lightsaber proof gloves.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. They might have them at this point.
At this point, fuck it.
At this point, just it's over.
Yeah, the fight choreography always kind of surprised me. I say the big battle scenes. It's weird that as much as I enjoyed The Last Jedi's big battle scenes, I didn't enjoy them in this one. I did like they do a bombing run, like the sort of the trench run from the episode 4. Yeah. They do that in every movie now, and I quite liked it in this one because it was just a big fight. There was a lot of the Star Destroyers there. It was just a big massive dogfight. But the big at the end.
Yeah, the Star Destroyers themselves did annoy me a little bit because there's no background to what the Emperor's been doing. Obviously, you assume that he's a crafty motherfucker. He has contingencies prepared. And all of a sudden, it's just click fingers, up rises from seemingly the planet's crust.
Yeah.
All these fucking Star Destroyers, and it's like, prepare the final order. Yeah. And he's just sitting there going, how the fuck...
We made it a whole hour, just before the hour, before we get the first Emperor impression. I was waiting on it. I was fucking begging for it. I was hoping it would be you, because I know I wanted to do when I was going, unlimited power. The fact he didn't... The Emperor unleashes. The Emperor Palpatine, by the way, is back. We probably should address that fact. That is a plot point.
The titular Dead Speaks.
Yes.
That was originally going to be the title of this one.
The titular Dead Speaks.
Star Wars, The Dead Speak.
He has been back and he's been working in the shadows to produce a mass army called the Final Order, which will overthrow the Jedi, which, by the way, reminder, is 2 people.
Yeah.
One person. 8,000 starships to destroy 2 people.
Yeah.
Overcompensating, mate, and it's probably because your legs don't work. Just saying.
Yeah, it's probably because you're like a little puppet on a string right now.
So he has been working away in the shadows, and it turns out he also has been tapping into new powers and has been able to drain the life out of Kylo and Rey.
He's now a vampire, a weird Sith vampire.
Yeah, and when he learns that he can do this, he realizes how strong the connection between Rey and Ren is because they now share certain aspects of the life force due to the force healing.
That does explain why all those other Sith acolytes were around him.
Yeah.
Maybe he was sapping them for sustenance.
Well, I don't think... Maybe he has been doing that to keep himself going, and also he's plugged into a machine.
Yeah.
I feel like he realised how much he could get out of Kylo and Rey, and I was like, I'll just suck everything out of you guys, and then just unleash a massive lightning attack on the sky.
Yeah. To
just nuke every ship that's in orbit right now. And the fact that he doesn't yell unlimited power during that annoys the fuck out of me. He is unleashing unlimited power and doesn't yell it at the top of his lungs because it's a great character. The Emperor Palpatine character is just so much fun. Yeah. He is just peak Star Wars, but it's like, I ain't give a shit anymore. I'm just going to yell random shit and just appear with a weird hood and just kind of creep everyone out in a 100-mile radius. But the fact that he doesn't yell unlimited power just bugs the shit out of me. I do find that the idea that there was like a unique connection to those two it explains a bit, but at the same time it's a bit of like an ass pull to just try and give everything a bit more weight. Like, they're a unique combination, unique pairing that has been seen in 1,000 years, and you're like, I don't care anymore. It's 2.5 hours into this movie. I don't care.
At that point, I was just kind of thinking, you know what? this represents the actual balance in the Force, because you've got a Sith and a Jedi connected by a bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, who cares?
Yeah,
it's yet another MacGuffin to explain the series. I am okay with it at this point. I don't really care.
Let's wrap it up, people.
Yeah,
let's wrap it up.
I mean, it got to that point in the film, and I was just like, okay, I've been in here for a while. There was a fucking loudmouth bitch 2 rows in front of me on the left that just wouldn't shut up. And I was like, I'm done with this movie. I want to go home. The movie itself wasn't bad. It was just ruined by the experience of actually going to the cinema. But
and the thing is that we can actually not talk about the middle third of this movie because it doesn't fucking matter. I think you could spend a lot of time talking about how different.
There was the trailer bait scene that I thought, okay,
that
when she goes to the
really
ruins of the Death Star.
It's annoying that that's longer. That's the one part of this movie I wanted to be shorter, because when it was in the trailer, there wasn't that much build up.
No.
But when you're actually watching the scene where Rey backflips over a speeder, backflips over Kylo Ren's speeder, and slashes the wing off, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It sets Rey up as, when they say Rey's the best fighter in the Resistance, you're like, is she? And you see that, you're like, all right, she is.
Yeah. I suppose she's been training in the 6 months since the last movie.
And that flip is awesome. It's a great slow-mo shot. It's set up perfectly, but then like the pacing of it is horrific because it takes far too long to actually pull off. And I just thought, just let it run. Just let it appear in the background. Stop cutting back to her face. I know that she's planning out. She's timing this out, so she starts running at exactly the right time. I don't need to see this like back to the speeder picking up more speed and going lower, and then her face, and then the speeder, and then her face, and the speeder, and her face, and the speeder, and then she starts running. There's honestly about 3 cuts back and forward before she starts running. Like, just show it in the background, show them both once, let her run, and then let's have this fucking awesome flip shot.
That wasn't the trailer bit that I was talking about.
Oh, right.
The trailer bit when she finds Palpatine's little vault of Force... what's the word I'm looking for?
Gimps.
Force Gimps. What's the word I'm looking for?
Is it the room full of people? The Acolytes?
No, not the Acolytes. When she's on the Death Star, what is the fucking word I'm looking for? All the little trinkets, all the little Force trinkets.
Oh, just the collection?
Yeah, his little vault collection, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. When she's going through there and she finds the same mirror thing that she's seen in episode 8, and she looks in it and she sees Sith Rey.
Oh, right.
It just tells her to let go or something like that, and she has the weird teeth.
Yeah, I know she's hot.
Then she just has the weird nunchuck light. She folds out the nunchuck lightsaber.
Yeah.
Then she runs out of there.
Yeah, I kind of want more. I kind of want more of that. Like that.
I wanted at least a lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I wanted a good back and forth with her fighting with her own, a physical manifestation of the metaphorical
with the path
battle
that she wants to take and the path that she is almost set on.
Yeah, but that middle third, I mean, there's so much of that is dedicated to the idea of spreading the word of the Resistance, because at the end of 8, no one shows up to save the Resistance. But it's strange that they have all that, they put all that effort into that, and then at the end say, fuck it, Lando will go out with his ship and he'll ask everybody to come.
Yeah, I kind of think that was more to do with that. In episode 8, Han Solo, people knew about the death of Han Solo, and they thought, well, if Han Solo's dead, he's the fucking best. Yeah. I'm staying the fuck away from this. Yeah. Then in episode 9, you've got General Calrissian just going, come on. Lando Calrissian, come on.
One last charge of the Light Brigade. Yeah. How did you feel about that? Because Star Wars is known, especially with how, I keep thinking back to epic rap battles of history. Steven Spielberg versus Alfred Hitchcock. And one of the lines from Alfred Hitchcock is, half your billion should go to John Williams, the conductor for the orchestral score of Star Wars. Half of that franchise's money, the entirety of it, is based on that, how that music makes you feel. I could not have given less of a fuck about that final charge. The big music swell, like the big arrival of the 100 ships. Yeah. You know what I saw? Immediately, I threw myself out of the scene immediately, like mentally, when I saw all the ships appear in the sky above the what's the word again?
What's the world called?
Yeah,
Exegol.
When all the ships appear in Exegol's sky, first of all, why is it sunny? Second of all,
I don't think it was sunny. It
was
that shot that planet is eternally dark.
It's sunny when the ships arrive.
Really? I thought it was just light coming from.
No, it's blue. There's a blue sky when those ships arrive. Obviously, it's a metaphor of, the good guys are coming to bring light to the darkness. And you're like, dude, that doesn't work. Like, it'd be much better if this entire fight was in the dark. It'd be a lot cooler.
Yeah.
But there's the musical swell, the arrival, you get Lando's voice over the radio, like, hey, you're not alone, kid. And you're like, oh my god, they're here. You're supposed to feel, like, that's supposed to be the big charge. We've had that moment this year in Avengers Endgame when the gates open up. And
when all the wizards and shit are opening the gates,
all the wizards, all the...
Done better.
All the teleportations. That scene made me, like, in the Avengers movie, that was the biggest emotional moment in the scene, because it was, we're down to the last 3 guys who could maybe stop this.
No, that's the point where Captain America is literally, he's the only one left.
He's the last
Iron
man
Man's
standing.
knocked out, Thor's knocked out, Captain America is literally arm busted, shield broken, and he's got the hammer.
Yeah.
That's all he has left.
That is one of the best moments in the entire decade of cinema that I've seen, and it is because that is the moment where you realise there's hope in the universe that this will happen, that the good will triumph over evil, and it's because people band together. The same moment happens in Avengers Endgame and Star Wars, and I couldn't give a fuck about the Star Wars version. I have no idea why. I saw it, and I think it's because as soon as I looked at the sky full of ships, I looked at it and said, it looks like a kid threw a bucket of Lego on the carpet. That's what this looks like. All the ships look like shit.
Yeah.
And I was so out of it immediately. I was like, I don't care. I know how this pans out, and I know what we're gonna have to go through. We're gonna have to go through a big, like, dramatic space battle. The good guys are gonna win. The music's gonna be blasting away and all that. And I just don't care.
I thought of it as more of, like, the reason why the ships look like shit is because these are just rebels.
Oh, like the idea of it being like a junk fleet.
Yeah, this is just
pretty
like
cool.
a hodgepodge of just, you've got a ship, has it got guns in it? Fucking join Uncle Lando.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool, but at the same time, like, just look at the way it's all set out on the screen. It doesn't look good.
Nah.
Whereas with...
See, to be honest, I can't really remember, but
there
was a lot of Rise of Skywalker that looked grainy, even in comparison to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
A lot of it looked grainy. It looked like there was a filter on it, especially when they're on the desert. There was a lot of this unnecessary, almost Michael Bay-like dark filter.
Yeah, but when you watch that and compare it to the Avengers Endgame scene, there's a much... That shot looks a lot better.
Yeah.
In Avengers Endgame, because in Star Wars, it's just a Starship Destroyer moves out of the way and reveals thousands of ships.
Yeah.
They're all just there. Whereas with Avengers Endgame, people are running out the portal. You can see where they're coming from. You can see the hell they're walking into.
Yeah.
But these are men charging into battle. Men, women, wizards, warlocks, whatever the fuck.
I think the cool thing about it is when, obviously in The Rise of Skywalker, you've just got ships that come in and they fly into place. With Avengers Endgame, you've got Spider-Man, he's whipping in, he's doing a pose.
There's so much more motion.
Yeah,
it's a charge.
There's an introduction
yes.
to the characters, because you've got a War Machine comes in, the helmet comes on, a fucking Rocket Raccoon jumps up on his shoulder, and you've got a Valkyrie and the horse come flying down, you've got Black Panther's helmet activates, you've got all these cool character introductions, whereas in Rise of Skywalker, it's just ships. Yeah,
and they're running into a desolate war zone. They're running into an absolute hellscape of a battlefield.
I think the only light that you can see is either the sunlight or just the light from their engines.
I also, I thought you were talking about Endgame, because I'm pretty sure the only light that you can see in Avengers
is the light from the
portals. The light from the portals and the fire of the battlefield.
Yeah,
and then rising to meet it at the same time is Thanos' horde, where they're both running together for this massive smash in the middle. Whereas, as you say with Star Wars, the Empire's fleet is just there.
Yeah,
and then it's just revealed that the junk fleet is just there. The Rebels fleet is just kind of there, and they just kind of... There's no kinetic force. I don't care about the impact, because you're just going to fly in amongst each other and just shoot laser beams. And it's strange that what should be that moment from Endgame in Star Wars has so little impact, because none of it's visceral. It's just planes flying around each other going, woo, 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 like shooting laser noises and stuff. Like it felt flat.
Yeah. And
when you compare it to the savagery of Kylo Ren fighting off the Knights of Ren, and then the battle between Emperor Palpatine and Kylo/Rey.
Sorry, it's Ben Solo at this
point. Solo at this point.
Because he's redeemed himself.
Yeah, because he's nice guy now. He's
a good guy. He threw away his red lightsaber and he had a conversation with his ghost dad.
Who didn't shave.
He didn't shave.
He didn't shave and grew his hair. Like, they're like, do you not want to go to wardrobe? Nah, fuck it.
Harrison Ford showed up because someone phoned him. Look, Mark Hamill phoned me, and see, at this point I wish I could do a James Williams impression of Harrison Ford from Funhouse. What do you mean? Harrison Ford just showed up and went, right, let's get this over and done with. We need to shave you. Nah,
not feeling it, mate.
You touch me with that blade, I'm going to shove up your ass.
It's a shame that like that big battle has nothing compared to just the battle between the Emperor and Kylo Ren and Rey, because that's a decent fight. It's a good like all out force fight. It feels like the like laser beam fights from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
it feels like the
beam struggles,
fire and beam fights at each other.
Yeah,
and it's that scene's a lot better than I thought it had any right to be, just because of the absolute fucking devastation that Rey brings.
Yeah, but Rey wins with the power of anime and friendship. Like, the
I am shonen trash. I care not for your criticism. That is a legitimate strategy in war, sir.
But Rey wins by summoning Anakin's lightsaber to her hand and then just going, I am all the Jedi, and she just pushes away like, bitch, you didn't even know the Jedi existed until a year ago.
To be fair, how else was this series going to end?
Yeah, true.
I mean, when you realise that Palpatine is all the Sith, she has to come back with, and I am all the Jedi. And
I still, like Wesker dying in Resident Evil 5, just with a rocket launcher being shot at him, and then his body falling into an active volcano, I still think Emperor Palpatine can come back. I've still got it in the back of my head that they're going to resurrect him somehow.
The absolute destruction of it, and I really wish they'd done more with that creepy, like stadium of acolytes that they had. I really wish they'd done a bit more, but seeing them all get annihilated, I'm like, that felt great.
Yeah.
They hadn't done anything.
They just dropped rocks and shit.
They'd just stand there being all satanic and stuff in the background, and all they did was just annihilate them with rocks. I'm like, that was fun.
I didn't even realise they were there until the final fight, because when Kylo Ren goes to kill the Emperor, which he does a complete 360 on that. He's like, he does a 180. He's like, no, I'm not going to kill you. You can give me power. Then later on, he's like, no, I am going to kill you. You never see the Sith acolyte.
I don't think they were shown. I don't think they were shown until the final battle, and it's to add weight, and it's to add to the almost conversion of Rey.
Yeah.
Which gets close, and you're like, is she actually going to do this? Like for half a second?
Kind of. This is how I expected it to go. I expected Rey to actually go to the dark side.
Yeah.
And then reformed Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, to step in with his grandfather's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, to signify the ultimate redemption.
Yeah.
And kill Rey.
Or they both die.
Or they both just end them both. Just like, no more Sith and Jedi.
Literally, we'll end everything here right now. Fuck it. Yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't have been
Emperor
inspired
Palpatine's finger just goes, I'm alive. Crawls away.
Time for another scheme. Just rolls away at the corner.
Prepare my ship. What? Do it.
What's talking? Is it the fingernail? Maybe.
You see it flapping.
Maybe.
The dark side of the Force is a gateway to many powers that may deem unnatural.
There's a lot of things to enjoy about the movie.
I know in a Solo series of just Palpatine's hand just crawling about like the weird thing from the Addams Family.
There's a lot to enjoy about this movie. I like it a lot more than Last Jedi. Yeah. But the problem ultimately comes down to the fact that I think this will be the biggest debate among Star Wars fans for the next decade until they decide to reboot it again. Because it's going to happen. The mouse wants money.
Yeah, they're going to bring another series.
Though they have said that it will wait for a while.
Yeah, probably about 4 years or something.
The biggest question will be, why did J.J. Abrams not direct 8? Or why was he not more directly involved with it? Why was he not writing it or helping produce it?
I think it was... I heard that he was doing another film at the time, or was doing something else. Mm-hmm. But I heard it was Disney... They had him in for The Force Awakens, then they brought in Rian Johnson because I think they wanted to split the trilogy up between people. So they thought, right, we'll give it to... Yeah, you can do the first one, Rian Johnson will do the second one, and then we're going to get another guy in to do the third one. Mm-hmm. And then they thought, okay, Rian Johnson fucked up. People didn't like that movie. Let's bring JJ back. People like The Force Awakens. Let's bring JJ back.
To be fair, the turnaround on that is too fast. To actually make these movies, it takes too long.
Yeah.
I really think they wanted to put someone else in there to mix it up. I think that's the biggest mistake they could have made. Yeah. Because
there's no cohesion between 1, 2, or 7, 8, and 9.
So much of 9 is fixing 8, and so much that should work in 8, or should work in 9, doesn't, because it's not been... Like, it should have been set up in 8. There's so much stuff that should have been carried over, and almost nothing was, other than the telepathic battles between Rey and Kylo. Other than that, there's not a lot that gets carried over.
I genuinely expected J.J. Abrams to do a complete turnaround on Luke's death. They'd be like, no, I disappeared. I'm back now. Like, I'm not dead. Because I heard J.J. actually wanted to use him in all the movies.
Which you would.
If Disney...
If you're like, I wonder if we can just have Mark Hamill around. It seems like a good idea.
But apparently Disney said, no, we want to do it this way then. Because, again, Disney have been battling J.J. Abrams quite a lot of the way.
which seems ridiculous when you think that the things that he's bringing to the table are the things that fans might not love every part of it, but it's the things that seem to work best in the Star Wars universe and make more of a cohesive logic towards the end.
I think it was mostly to do with what he wanted to use in certain scenes and how closely he wanted to honour the original source material, because it's, with no question, you can't say, or without any doubt, Force Awakens is pretty much just A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the droid with the message, reaches the sand planet, finds a scavenger, it's like an orphan, and then shit continues from there. You've got the other, with it, obviously Finn wouldn't really be the Obi-Wan Kenobi character, but there's the other character that meets them halfway. There's a lot of the same beats, and Episode 9 is kind of Return of the Jedi-esque, because you've got all the different locations that you go to. There's the big fight against the new Death Star, which, again, if all this time the Emperor has been preparing his vast fleet of ships,
I'm pretty sure,
and he has Death Star technology, why didn't he just put Death Star technology on the other Star Destroyers? Because all the Star Destroyers that he makes in Episode 9 all have fucking Death Star lasers on them.
Well,
destroy planets.
I think that's been something he's worked on in the shadows. Like he has made miniaturized Death Star technology and then started rolling it out across the new fleet he's building. But because he hasn't coordinated with the First Order, his final order is its own thing. So when it happens and has its own weird ideas, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is what, when you take that idea and just let it run in the background in isolation.
I did more with it.
And it's, I do wonder now if, that big question will ever be answered. The what if J.J. Abrams did all three, and Disney didn't fuck with them and just let them make these. I think it would have been fine.
I think it would have been at the very least cohesive. It would have been. It would have been understandable, because right now you've got, like I said earlier, Force Awakens links pretty easily into episode 7 links to episode 9. Mm-hmm. Episode 8 kind of is almost self-contained in a little bit. There's a hangover from 7 that influences 8. And a little bit influences 9, but ultimately there's no real through line between them all.
I think in certain ways, 8 was more irreverent of it. I mean, when Rey hands over, like 7 ends with Rey holding out Luke's lightsaber to him, and saying, "Will you be my master?" and stuff. And 8 begins with him picking it up and saying, and yeeting it over his own shoulder,
throwing it over his shoulder,
just tossing it. And that irreverence is what becomes this whole thing of like ending the institutions around the Force and just embracing the Force as its own
Mark
power.
Hamill hated doing that, by the way. Like,
I would too. Like it's so irreverent to. I say, like, when you're talking about, like, at the start of this movie, like, this is a movie 40 years in the making. You're about to witness a generational story, and you think that's great, but in the last movie, you people didn't give a fuck. Like, that's part of the fan reaction to this is we've given a fuck for 40 years. On a whim, you guys just say, fuck it. And then just, like, start throwing antique lightsabers over your own shoulder.
Yeah. At this point, Anakin's lightsaber is fucking Excalibur. Whoever has that is the leader of the new fucking order.
Yeah. And I really...
Although I still think we're not done with that lightsaber. I think future sagas, that lightsaber's still going to be part of it.
Well, I'll circle back to the future Star Wars, because, like, how the Star Wars ends is that end scene. If you imagine, like, going from the start of... when, like, watch them all through in order of when they come out. That end scene of Rey on the planet with BB-8 and looking at the twin suns of Tatooine, if you put that at the very end of movies that start with Luke Skywalker, watching those same stars, watching those same suns rise together, that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
And it feels like the last trilogy really should have earned that. It should have. There's nothing saying that they really. Something in there just stopped them. That feeling like an earned scene at the end where everything just kind of it wraps up nicely and everything ends. And I think it's just because we had that middle movie just random flip out of just a different director and a different idea and a different cast. I think that what was done with 8 was done to make 9 work, but I don't like. In a sense, like being that irreverent of the Star Wars canon up to that point, but. Just being irreverent of it as a franchise hurt it in the end. Yeah, I think there was just a bit too much disrespect to what's come before.
It was, I think, really,
and that's as a non-fan, like someone who is like I was saying, I've talked about Star Wars for the last hour and a half, but I'm not that big of a fan. But like as an outsider watching it, like if I like had a Star Wars tattoo and was obsessed with it and had all the extended universe, if I'd seen this, I'd have probably had a shit fit too.
Yeah, I think Rian Johnson himself is known as the kind of master of subversion in films. He likes sort of getting rid of the established norm, which is why his new film Knives Out, the Whodunit, apparently that film works fucking expertly well.
I've heard great things about it.
And when he's given his own franchise, I think that kind of works. But I think, yeah, like you said, if you're watching this as a Star Wars fan, there's so much of Episode 8 that doesn't work. Again, Kylo Ren works, the stuff with Luke Skywalker works, but there is not enough respect paid to the characters.
It's weird because the plot points are kind of okay with the exception of Finn's storyline.
Yeah, but
most of it works as Star Wars.
Yeah, Finn and Rose's gambling planet thing.
Yeah.
With the goats and Benicio del Toro doing nothing.
All of that can fuck off and you still have a perfectly good movie.
Yeah, if you cut that bit out and just focus on Rey and Poe, you've got a good film. And just have... There's no...
Just give Finn something else to do.
Yeah, there's no shame in having a character take a back step to let other characters shine. Because they did that in other stories. In Return of the Jedi, Leia takes a heavy backseat for Han and Luke. Because Luke is... He's fighting the Emperor and Han is leading the rebels through Endor. Leia takes a backseat and that's fine. She's still there. She's still helping Han, but more often than not, it is, Han and Chewie and Luke that are leading the show.
Mm-hmm.
And having Finn do that in Episode 8, I don't think would have damaged it too much, but I think that there's... My problems with 8 don't really centre around the movie itself, if that makes sense. The movie itself I think is fine and serviceable, but there's still some points within that. Overall, I think it's a good film. If I had to put a number to it, I'd give it a good solid 6.5. But 6.5 for a movie nowadays is pretty high.
Yeah.
It's just, there's things that they do in there, and getting the new director and the new writer doesn't help the movie in any way, shape or form. It weird breaks the flow of the movies.
It's one of those... It feels like when you say what you said isn't wrong, but the tone you said it in.
Yeah.
It feels like that, but in a movie format.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I can't complain about The Last Jedi because, again, as a fan of Star Wars, I never thought we were going to get anything past you or my brother Anakin on Star Wars Episode 3. I thought that was it. I thought we were going to be done with Star Wars. It would just live in cartoons and rehashes on Disney Channel and what have you, or whatever games they brought out. But to see it come back to moderate success, The Force Awakens was probably the most successful.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker is going to be successful because there's enough fan service in there with Lando and Leia and seeing Luke and Leia train, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seeing Leia have her own lightsaber and training with Luke and getting the better of Luke at one point.
Yeah, she is a competent, capable person, and she always has been, and that's what made her interesting as a character.
Yeah.
But I think we're... Is it right to say... I feel like I'm just glad it's over.
Yeah, I think I want to let it rest for a little bit. I'm going to rewatch Rise of Skywalker when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because I think that will be me now owning all the Star Wars films that I'm willing to own. 1, 2, and 3 can go fuck off. I own 4, 5, and 6. I own 7 and 8. I own Rogue One and Solo. But I'll watch them all again once through, and I'll see if the story kind of fits through, because I've got a funny feeling it'll go from 4, 5, and 6 into 7 quite easily. But then from 7 to 8, it's going to be a struggle. And from 8 to 9, it's going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But it will be good to come back and just view it all in the one go. But I think now at this point, can I talk about the ending?
Yeah.
Right. It ends exactly how you think it was going to end. Good wins, bad guy falls. Rey wins with the power of anime and friendship. It was I will admit, it is a pretty cool scene when she's got the crossed lightsabers and she's pushing the Force lightning back.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, one person had to die. One of them had to die, and it was Kylo Ren, now Ben Solo. I didn't realize this, and it took me having to watch a review of it for this to be explained to me. But when Leia does her own little force projection thing, she binds her life force to Ben Solo. So when she dies, Ben dies as well. Which I thought, dick move. Dick move. Like, you're dying as well. May as well take your fucking son with you. But that really, if you take it this way, that signifies the last blood Skywalker dying.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, by Ben Solo being taken off the board, the only Force being with a name right now is Rey Palpatine, because it's said in here that Rey is the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, let's put it in this perspective. In 2019, Emperor Palpatine had more sex than you.
Yeah, there's the weird theory of that guy had to bang.
Who boned Emperor
that
Palpatine with?
Who got boned by Emperor Palpatine?
I think someone walked into that room and Palpatine went to town.
Who turned around and saw Emperor Palpatine unlimited power?
Do it, do it, do it. Touch it.
Oh please, just once.
It has a mouth; it can speak.
Unlimited semen.
Power.
It's just
Fetch a medical capsule immediately. Take the pill.
the like what happens next is going to be interesting because
I wasn't done talking about the ending.
oh right.
Right. Sorry, before I got sidetracked. So if you take it from one perspective, Emperor Palpatine has basically ensured that the only Force sensitive or the only powerful Force sensitive remaining is a Palpatine. So essentially, he kind of succeeded in making Palpatine the biggest name in the Star Wars universe.
But that wasn't his purpose. His purpose was to make the Sith the only ruling force,
Yeah.
and Rey rejects it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying that's hypothetical, but
Yeah.
The flip side of that is the actual ending when Rey is talking to the woman says, "Oh, no one's been here for a while. Who are you?" And she goes, "Rey." And she goes, "Do you have a last name?" And she goes, "Skywalker." So
That takes a while though for her to get to that Skywalker. Like
Yeah.
you just to look over, conjure the image of Luke and Leia.
yeah, Luke and Leia have to appear through the Force to her. But I think what would have been the better ending is if she kept her actual birth name. If she went, "I'm Rey Palpatine," then people go, "Oh, Palpatine," and she go, "No,
No.
we're good now."
Not that Palpatine.
And just you made the name Palpatine a positive name throughout the universe, and actually said, "No, we are not bound to the bloodlines that we were born with. Palpatine can be a force for good." But ultimately, in the story, it makes more sense for her to go, "No, I'm a Jedi, I'm a Skywalker," than just shifty eye. I swear I'm a Skywalker.
I'm a Skywalker. Don't ask any other Skywalker.
Shut up, Force lightning.
It's,
Palpatine then goes, "Kill her."
I guess it's more to do with how do you want to end it? Do you want to end it with you're not defined by your name, or you're not defined by your bloodline, you're defined by the family you choose along the way?
Yeah,
And I think that we're going for that because that's more tangible than your name doesn't define you.
Yeah, I think it was more the sins of the past don't need to be committed again.
Yeah,
Like fair enough, your grandfather may have been the biggest evil of the Star Wars
he may
universe.
have been literally Space Hitler.
Yeah, he may have the space Hitler is a probably pretty good way to define it. A lot of red imagery as well, because all the Final Order stormtroopers all have red armor.
The whole thing is Nazi from like start to beginning.
I think I personally would have preferred it if she went, "No, I will change my name. My name is Palpatine, but I'm going to make that Force for good."
I'm going to
That would have
change
been
what
cool.
Palpatine means in the universe.
But the only way it could have ended would be for her to say, "No, I'm a Skywalker. I think I've earned the name Skywalker." Because ultimately, the Skywalkers didn't really. There was Anakin's mother, but that was it. She's the only real proper Skywalker because Anakin was made through some weird Force magic.
Well, if you look at the whole like the lens of the whole, it's all about religious ideologies and stuff. Luke Skywalker gives up on the Jedi Order. He becomes his own thing. He remembers what the Jedi were, but he has changed his way of looking at the Force to less to do with the Jedi like way of teaching things and more to his more naturalized view of the Force.
Yeah.
And then it changes the idea of what Star Wars has done over time is change the idea of the Skywalkers as a family to an idea.
Yeah.
And she is now embodying that idea in naming herself a Skywalker.
It's more of it makes the name Skywalker less of a name and more of a title.
Yeah.
Like she is a Skywalker.
Yeah, I feel like if there is a future for the Star Wars universe, it would not surprise me if they time skip forward and the Skywalkers are now an ideology. They're now a religious group. They're now an idea, an ideal to strive towards.
The Jedi are still there, but instead of Jedi Masters, you are now a Skywalker.
I think the Jedi are gone. I think that I really hope
something along the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's just like you are Force sensitive. You have now achieved the rank of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like you said, becomes an ideology, something to strive towards. I think because Rey still has all the Jedi books that she got in 8 because she
No, they burn them.
no, she has them.
Oh,
If you watch in episode 8,
yeah.
if you watch in episode 8, she has Luke's journals and all the books and shit from his hut.
Well, she has Luke's journals, but Ghost Yoda burns the tree.
He burns a tree, but she gets the books because it shows you in episode 8 that she has all the books.
Oh, right.
Because you see the books, like even there's a yellow book with something on the side. You see that in her.
I know she's
There's a
looking
little
through
box.
some books of notes from Luke during the days, but I don't. She says it's his journal.
Yeah.
It's not like the sacred texts.
I'll need to rewatch episode 8, but I'm pretty sure you can see that she has all the Jedi texts and stuff.
I'm pretty sure they're gone. I don't know why. But
if they are gone, that's probably the better way to do it. But
if not, Yoda just burned a tree for no fucking reason.
The fact that Yoda can call lightning just
as a Force ghost,
blinking.
Yeah, he just goes.
Then again, Yoda is meant to be ridiculously strong. That's why Palpatine was terrified of fighting him in the other movies.
The Force ghost of Yoda might be one of the ugliest things I've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah, because he used the puppet, not CGI.
No, that looks more CGI.
That was a puppet. Because one of the worst things about, or one of the things that people complain about in the prequels, myself included, is the horrible CGI Yoda.
Because it looks horrible. Like, it looks like CGI. It doesn't look like a puppet.
I thought it was a puppet.
Right, let's find it.
But then again, if it is a puppet, I think it looks pretty cool. Because I always prefer puppet Yoda. The more Jim Henson we can get in a movie, the better.
I feel like it might just be that they've used a puppet and they've had to put so many CGI filters on it. Yeah.
I think what it is they made the puppet, then they've had to put the lighting filter on it to make it look like a Force ghost. I'm pretty sure at one point the effect ends and you just see a bit of a green ear poking out.
Yeah, there's something about like the number of times it twitches its ear as well. Like it moves too much in a certain way.
Could just be a really good animatronic.
Yeah. The Last Jedi used a puppet for Yoda, yes. Okay. So
it was the same with Babu Frick.
Babu Frick was kind of funny. Like, it gets kind of annoying and it gets funny again.
It's the part when he just kind of goes, yo! Like,
when he appears in the end. Yeah. Is that you, Babu? Babu! You're like, hey, Babu.
That was it was a famous Scottish actress that did her voice.
Really?
It was I think she played Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter films.
Okay.
That was her.
Interesting. But that now leads, I guess, towards the end and the question of what happens next with Star Wars. I mean, as I said with the 2019 best of thing, I don't like the fact that Star Wars has been so centered around Skywalker for so long when the universe is interesting. I'm very interested in seeing what happens outside of that, and I really should have watched more of the solo stuff or the spin-off movies. And
but the spin-off movies are very, very much self-contained because Rogue One, you know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
Solo, you know how that's going to end.
It's weird. You know how Rogue One's going to end, but the first time you watch it, you do not see that ending coming. The Vader appearance.
Oh, dude, that was so fucking sick. That's genuinely the coolest Star Wars moment. Because I think it was you that said it way back in the first couple episodes of Gibberpish. You've seen him fight an old man. Yeah. You've seen him fight a very young and unexperienced Jedi. And you've seen him pick up and throw an old man. You've never really seen Vader throw down.
We've never seen Vader unleashed.
To see him just fucking batting motherfuckers aside, throwing people off up against the ceiling of the ship.
It's like watching
fucking cool.
It's like watching a great white shark on PCP.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't fucking stop this thing and it's going to kill you. Deal with it.
Because I remember watching Rogue One in the cinema with my dad and I audibly just went, that is cool as fuck.
It's, I feel like the universe is a lot more interesting. I'm going to watch The Mandalorian when it comes out. I do remember seeing something about Disney Plus coming to UK in March. I don't know if I'm wanting to shell out for it, though. That's the problem.
I'm going to get the free month. Binge The Mandalorian then.
I think that's most people's plans. And it probably is going to be my plan.
I'm not paying £15 a fucking month for Disney Plus when I'm already paying that for other streaming services.
Yeah, I can get Netflix and Funimation for that. I'm happy there.
For that, I can get Amazon Prime, Netflix, Spotify, and have change.
Yeah. Student discounts, mate.
Not even student discounts. Oh. The only thing I got a student discount there was Amazon Prime. I pay a tenner a month for Spotify, and I pay $3.99 for Prime.
Ah, right. But yeah, I've always wanted to see more of that universe. I do wish we would go away from the Skywalkers. And I think the Mandalorian kind of will set the Mandalorian, the solo stuff should really set the tone for the next couple of years. If they're gonna come back to this. Within the decade, I really think they need to work on something new. Yeah,
I think they need to do a complete right. Skywalkers are done. Let Rey literally be the last Skywalker.
Yeah,
how far? Because obviously everyone in Star Wars has kids. At some point, Rey will fucking sprogulate. She'll just fire at a couple of babies, and they will probably grow up to be Force sensitives. And then even in Episode 8, there were some kids that were Force. Using the Force to send brooms to their hands and stuff on the casino planet. So there's other Force-sensitive people out there, and I think that's probably going to be Rey's mission that you'll see and the behind the scenes, Rey's probably going to go and find more force sensitives and train them in the ways of the Force, but in balance.
Yeah.
And I think now with the Sith and Jedi being dead, Rey's new thing's always going to be about balancing the Force.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see something akin to Jedi with lightsabers, but they're going to be more of a peacekeeping, peacekeeping neutral type of Force. Instead of we are good, we are bad. No, we're going to be neutral. We're not going to get involved in any wars. We've seen how that goes. We will not stray towards evil. We will not stray towards good. We will stay on this one centered path.
It'll be Robin Hood style. We will protect the innocent.
Yeah.
We're here for the people of the galaxy, as opposed to political or personal gain.
They're basically just going to be space witchers. They're going to fight the monsters, fight the bad guys.
If you want to throw them a coin, thank you very much.
Yeah. If you want to toss a coin to your witcher, you feel free. It's a banging song.
So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, that's just it.
Like Star Wars, it is going to finish. We will come back eventually, but not. It won't take 10 years to come back. We'll be back soon.
Back soon with another episode of Gibberpish Podcast. Until then, I've been Colin Graham.
I've been Dom Anderson.
And we've been talking Gibberpish about Star Wars.
Touch my dingus. Do it.